Hello and welcome to Papapodcast News. Today we have a special on how climate change affects the world.
First of all, there's a common misconception that climate change is the same as global warming. Climate change is actually the long-term change of many factors of climate, such as temperature, precipitation, or wind in a specific region, while global warming is a gradual rise in temperature of the entire planet.
Climate change is mainly caused due to three factors: natural factors such as changes in the sun's intensity or slow changes in the Earth's orbit around the sun, natural processes within the climate system, and human activities that change the atmosphere's composition and the land surface. Also, every part of the world is vulnerable in their own way to the effects of climate change. Now, off to Victoria and Canada.
Scientists at Durham University have proved that climate change has had an enormous impact on the migration of birds to and from North America. Many migrating birds, such as the common whitethroat, will be forced to extend their journeys up to an extra 400 kilometers because of irregular shifts in climate. This is potentially fatal to the population, as there is a much higher chance of starvation. Many of these migrating birds are already critically endangered, such as the Bachman's warbler, and further losses may cause them to go completely extinct. Now off to Alexandria in London, England.
In Europe, climate change is causing shortages in food, health hazards, changes in water resources and the sea level, and causing severe weather events. Other things also affected include economic activities, human settlement, and human health. A major outcome of climate change in Europe is smog. In 1852, smog in London changed the way people thought about air pollution. In early December, a cold fog drifted into London, causing people to burn more coal. The amount of fog suddenly increased, and the rate of death spiked. People began to realize that the fog was in fact smog and showed more awareness to the new problem. Now, back to Victoria and the Sahara Desert.
Because of climate change, annual precipitation has declined 10 to 40% over much of Africa within the past century. This lack of precipitation has increased the risk of desertification of the entire continent. Desertification is a process by which fertile land becomes desert. Usually desertification is caused by poor land use, but climate change has caused these areas to form rapidly, such as the Sahara Desert, which is currently expanding south at approximately 48 kilometers per year. Now back to Alexandria and Antarctica.
In Antarctica, the temperature is warming up to 2 to 3 times faster than the global average. In the polar regions, climate change is the most drastic and causes the most difference than any other place in the world. Changes such as disappearing penguins to the spread of flowering plants all show how climate change is severely affecting Antarctica. These changes may appear to be insignificant, but it could result in fatal disruptions within the ecological balance. Back to Victoria in South America.
According to a recent study, 70 to 80% of rainforests and its inhabitants in South America will be severely damaged by the year 2100 due to climate change and specifically human activities such as deforestation and poaching. Tropical forests hold more than half of all the plant and animal species on Earth, but by 2100, only 18 to 45% of these tropical forests may be left. Rainforests in South America, such as the Amazon, have decreased by 22% within the past century, and climate change could raise that number exponentially. Now back to Alexandria in Bangkok, Thailand.
In Asia, the natural resources and environment are suffering due to the change in the climate. Things such as an increase in sea level, severe flooding, and erosion are all results of climate change. In addition, coastal cities such as Bangkok, Shanghai, and Manila will all be in danger as unpredictable weather will occur from flooding and storm surges. Other things that are put at risk in Asia include their agricultural production, food security, and development. Crop yields are declining, and other things like waterborne diseases are increasing. Also, decreased water quality and an increase of deaths and damages due to weather are other consequences of the change in climate. Back to Victoria in Queensland, Australia.
The Great Barrier Reef has experienced unprecedented rates of bleaching over the past 2 decades, killing off hundreds of square meters of natural coral reefs. Coral bleaching is the loss of the required conditions for a coral reef to survive. It is mainly caused by the acidification of surrounding water, and causes the corals to lose their nutrients, pigmentation, and eventually death of the coral structure. This coral bleaching, along with the rapid rise in sea temperatures, is predicted to destroy a third of marine life within the next decade. Now back to Alexandria in the newsroom.
It is expected that climate change will affect developing countries more severely compared to developed countries. In addition to having a risk posed to agriculture, food, and water, other things that will be affected include the livelihood and lives of the people living in the countries, and other problems such as poverty, hunger, or disease.
Thanks for tuning in to Papa Podcast News.